Welcome everyone to Hanukkah Tales. I'm Brendan.
I'm Reena.
And we are here to show you and read for you some of our favorite Hanukkah stories in honor of the third night of Hanukkah.
That's right. And at the end, we'll be lighting our menorah. Before we get started, we do want to introduce a friend.
It's someone whose very first Hanukkah it is. Drum roll, please. David! This is David the Hanukkah dog. Everyone say hi to David.
Hey, David.
Hi,
Thanks for joining us. He's going to be just our pal here while we read each book.
Oh.
And we have 4 wonderful books for you.
David, I'm so excited. And as everyone knows, one of the most important and most fun parts of Hanukkah is lighting the menorah. So without further ado, Reena, get the candles.
I gave the candles to you.
And then I gave them back to you.
No, but I distinctly remember handing the candles back to you, and you had them last.
And then I thought I placed them in your pocket, and then
Okay, not a problem. I'm gonna go look for the candles. Hanukkah is still ready to rock and roll. Brendan, why don't you show them the first book?
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Of course. Well, you can't start off Hanukkah celebration without learning about the story of Hanukkah. This one by David A. Adler. This one's got action and fun and tension. And without further ado, let's learn the story of Hanukkah. The Story of Hanukkah by David A. Adler, illustrated by Jill Weber. All right. The Hanukkah story begins in Israel a long time ago when it was called Judea. At that time, the Jews who lived there were farmers and shepherds, like all those people right there. On holidays, they all went to a beautiful temple in Jerusalem. The temple was on top of a mountain and called the House of God. Its gates were covered with gold and silver. Inside was a ner tamid, a light that always burned. For a time, the Jews lived in peace, although they did not rule their land. Look at them. Then a Greek, Antiochus IV, became king. He tore down the walls of Jerusalem. Thousands were killed. Anyone who lit Sabbath candles, studied Jewish law, or refused to bow to Greek idols was put to death. The king's men came to the town of Modin. They demanded that Mattathias, an old priest, worship one of their gods. Mattathias refused. He threw down the idol and called on to everyone, "Whoever is for the Lord, our God, follow me." Antiochus's army chased after Mattathias, but when the soldiers came near, brave Jews hiding large rocks were hiding there, and inside caves they attacked. Then they ran back to the hills and hid. Mattathias and his followers were farmers and shepherds, but they fought like trained soldiers. When Mattathias died, his son Judah became their leader. Judah was called the Maccabee, which means hammer. The people who fought with him were called the Maccabees. There they are. The king's armies came with bows, arrows, swords, and horses and armored elephants, but they weren't able to beat the Maccabees. In the final battle, there were more than 6 armed soldiers to each Maccabee, but still the mighty army of Antiochus was beaten. Judah then led the Maccabees to Jerusalem. The Maccabees cried when they saw the temple ruined and filled with garbage. They cleaned it. They built a new altar, new gates, and new doors. Look at that. Good job, Maccabees. When it came time to light the Ner Tamid, they found just one small jar of pure oil, only enough to burn for 1 day. But that oil burned for 8 days until more oil could be prepared. On the 25th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev, the temple again became the house of God. Judah declared that every year on that date, an 8-day holiday would begin. The holiday was called Hanukkah, which means dedication. It celebrates the day the temple was rededicated. That was more than 2,000 years ago. Look at that. Today, all over the world, Jews celebrate Hanukkah by lighting candles, singing Hanukkah songs, and eating latkes, which are potato pancakes, and safganiyot, which is a jelly donut. Latkes and safganiyot are prepared in oil and remind Jews of the Hanukkah miracle. In my home, people exchange Hanukkah gifts. Children also play a game with a 4-sided spinning top called a dreidel. On each side of the dreidel is a different Hebrew letter. The first letters of the Hebrew sentence, Nes Gamdor Hayasham, which means a great miracle happened here. It happened in Jerusalem. Hanukkah celebrates one of the first fights for religious freedom. The end. Wow. I learned a lot from reading that. Maybe things are gonna be okay.
Okay, so here's the update. I could not find the candles.
Okay. Well, they have to be somewhere. I remember I took them with me before I went to bed.
Do you smell that, Brendan? It smells like burning.
Burning, but we don't have any candles. My latkes! Oh no!
Oh dear, burning latkes. Hopefully that works out. It's okay. While Brendan goes and checks that in the kitchen, we're gonna read the next story. There Was a Young Rabbi, a Hanukkah Tale by Suzanne Wolf. Whoops. Here we go. She lit the menorah. Ooh. There was a young rabbi who read from the Torah. She read from the Torah and lit the menorah. She lit the menorah, as we all know, to remember a miracle from a long time ago. There was a young rabbi who made latkes so yummy. She fried them in oil, then filled up her tummy. She made latkes so yummy and filled up her tummy. She read from the Torah and lit the menorah. She lit the menorah, as we all know, to remember a miracle from a long time ago. There was a young rabbi who made applesauce sweet. She ate it with latkes for a Hanukkah treat. She ate applesauce sweet for a Hanukkah treat. She made latkes yummy and filled up her tummy. She read from the Torah and lit the menorah. She lit the menorah, as we all know, to remember a miracle from a long time ago. There was a young rabbi who made a nice brisket. It's kosher, of course, or she wouldn't risk it. Kosher brisket she made, at least 10 pounds it weighed. She made applesauce sweet for a Hanukkah treat. She made latkes yummy and filled up her tummy. She read from the Torah and lit the menorah. She lit the menorah, as we all know, to remember a miracle from a long time ago. That looks yummy. Scrumptious. There was a young rabbi who played dreidel to win. She watched it closely and it started to spin. Ooh, and we have some here. The dreidel, it spun. The rabbi, she won. Kosher brisket she made, at least 10 pounds it weighed. She made applesauce sweet for a Hanukkah treat. She made latkes yummy and filled up her tummy. She read from the Torah and lit the menorah. She lit the menorah, as we all know, to remember a miracle from a long time ago. Ooh. Fun fact, the menorah used to have 7 branches instead of 9. There was a young rabbi who ate chocolate gelt. So sweet and so tasty, in her mouth it did melt. She ate chocolate gelt, in her mouth it did melt. The dreidel it spun, the rabbi she won. Kosher brisket she made, at least 10 pounds it weighed. She made applesauce sweet for a Hanukkah treat. She made latkes yummy and filled up her tummy. She read from the Torah and lit the menorah. She lit the menorah, as we all know, to remember a miracle from a long time ago. There was a young rabbi, and for 8 straight nights, she celebrated Hanukkah, the festival of lights. For 8 straight nights, the festival of lights, she ate chocolate gelt, in her mouth it did melt. The dreidel it spun, the rabbi she won. Kosher brisket she made, at least 10 pounds it weighed. She made applesauce sweet for a Hanukkah treat. She made latkes yummy and filled up her tummy. She read from the Torah and lit the menorah. She lit the menorah, as we all know, to remember a miracle from a long time ago. Oh, it's her whole family celebrating. And that's that one. Happy Hanukkah from that book. I love this book. I love the rhyming. And also we have some really yummy gelt here. What's up, Brendan?
The latkes are burned. Hanukkah's ruined.
Oh, it's not ruined. Don't say that. Oh, I know. I have some really yummy Hanukkah cookies that I think I should start making or prepping in the kitchen. What do you think?
I think it sounds good.
Would you like to read them the next story?
Okay.
All right, chin up. Cheer up, pal. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Maybe Reena is right. You know what always makes me feel better is this next book, and this is my absolute favorite Hanukkah book. It's David's favorite Hanukkah book too. This is called The Hanukkah Bear by Eric A. Kimmel with illustrations by Mike Wonauta. That's a very hard name to pronounce. The Hanukkah Bear. Can you guess what's gonna happen? Wow. Old Bear awoke from his winter sleep. He poked his nose outside his den. What was that? Something to eat. Old Bear's empty stomach rumbled. He shook himself all over, then lumbered out of his den to follow the delicious smell. What do you think the smell is? Ooh, who's that? Bubby Brea took the last potato latke from the pan and put it in the oven with the others. Bubby Brea was 97 years old and did not hear or see as well as she used to. but she still made the best potato latkes in the village. Every year at Hanukkah time, all her friends came to her house on the edge of the forest. How they loved those latkes. Bubby Brea always made plenty, but tonight she made twice as many as usual. Tonight was special. Tonight, the rabbi was coming. Bubby Brea hurried to get ready. Ooh, the rabbi's coming. Just then she heard a thump on the door. She opened it. Rabbi, you're here. How nice to see you. Growled the old bear. Happy Hanukkah to you too. Please come in. Old Bear walked into the house. I'll take your coat, Rabbi. My, how thick it is. Bubby Brea tugged at the old bear's fur. Old Bear roared. Growl! Oh, you want to keep your coat on? Well, that's all right. It is chilly in here. Old Bear's nose twitched. Thank you, Rabbi. How kind of you to say that. The latkes will taste even better than they smell. I don't think Bubby Brea knows who that is. Old Bear followed his nose to the oven. Rabbi, I'm surprised at you. You know we don't eat until after we light the menorah. That's all right. I knew you were teasing. I'll light the candles. Will you say the blessings? Bubby Brea struck a match and lit the Shamus candle. Then she lit the one for the first night. Old Bear muttered and growled. Who has kept us alive, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this season. Oh, Rabbi, you say the blessing so beautifully. Bubby Brea sat down at the table. Old Bear sat beside her. Let's play dreidel. We'll use the nuts. Old Bear cracked one with his teeth. Rabbi, you won't have any nuts for the game if you eat them. Growled Old Bear. Don't worry, I have plenty of nuts if you need more. Bubby Brea spun the dreidel. It stopped on the letter Kimmel. I win! Bubby Brea swept the nuts into her apron. Don't be angry, Rabbi. It's only a game. She tossed him a nut. Old Bear begged for more. No, Rabbi, no more nuts. It's time for dinner. Bubby Brea opened the oven door and took out a platter piled high with steaming potato latkes. Old Bear sniffed the latkes as she set them down the table. Do you prefer sour cream or jam? Bubby Brea asked. What do you guys like with your latkes? I'm an applesauce guy myself. Old Bear growled. Jam, I thought so. Bubby Brea smeared 5 big latkes with jam and stacked them on Old Bear's plate. Old Bear gobbled them down. Bubby Brea laughed. You should use a fork. You have jam all over your beard. She wet a towel and wiped Old Bear's face. I must tell you, Rabbi, you eat like a bear. I'm hungry like a bear, so I eat like one? I can see that, Bubby Brea said. Bubby Brea. Old Bear ate and ate until the latkes were all gone. He felt drowsy. His head flopped on Bubby Brea's lap. Rabbi, you're sleepy. Well, wouldn't be sleepy after such a meal. All the latkes are gone. It's time to go home. But before you leave, I have a Hanukkah present for you. Bubby Brea took a red scarf from the knitting basket. She wrapped it around Old Bear's neck. I made it myself. Grrr. Old Bear licked Bubby Brea's face. Bubby Brea blushed. Oh, Rabbi, and my age? Old Bear shuffled to the door. Roar. He growled as he walked off into the night. Good night to you too, Rabbi. Happy Hanukkah. Aw, and there he goes. But the story's not done there. Bubby Brea was washing dishes when she heard another knock. I wonder who that is. Shalom, Bubby Brea! All her friends stood at the door, wishing her a happy Hanukkah. Shalom, everybody, Bubby Brea said. How nice to see you. I'm sorry, I don't have any more latkes. The rabbi came by. He ate them all. Bubby Brea, don't you recognize me? It was the rabbi. The rabbi couldn't have eaten your latkes, everyone said. He's been with us in the synagogue. Bubby Brea rubbed her forehead. Something strange is happening. Rabbi, I think there's an imposter going around. He looks just like you. He talks like you. He even has your beard. Are they going to get to the bottom of it? Just then, the children cried, Look at the floor! Bear tracks! A bear? And I thought it was the rabbi. Bubby Brea had to sit down. Soon she began to giggle. That was a very clever bear. Or very foolish Bubby Brea. Ah, well, let the bear have a happy Hanukkah. I had a happy Hanukkah too. And so will you, dear friends. Bring some potatoes from the cellar. Fetch my grater and bowl. Everybody has to help. You too, Rabbi. If we all work together, we'll soon have latkes for everyone. Deep in the forest, Old Bear slumbered in his den. His stomach was full of potato latkes. The warm woolen scarf was wrapped snugly around his neck. Pleasant dreams, Old Bear, and happy Hanukkah. Wow, I feel better already. I feel a little hungry too. Reena did leave this bowl of gelt here. I'm sure I could have just one. Maybe another. Maybe a couple more.
Okay, so the cookies are ready. Brendan, are you eating the gelt with the gold coating?
They still taste good.
Brendan, you're supposed to take the foil off. And what are you doing? I just made my cookie. Hey, no, wait till the cookies cool down.
Well, I'm gonna go look in the kitchen. I might as well clean up while I'm in there. Hopefully the candles are in there.
Hopefully. Thanks, pal.
No problem.
Just move this over. The rest of that gelt is for him. Okay, speaking of Hanukkah cookies, we have our final book of the night. I'm so happy everybody is just stuck around and just loves hearing about them, and we love reading them. I'm really glad you joined us. This is Hanukkah Cookie with Sprinkles by David A. Adler. Okay, here we go. Every morning, I watch by the window as Mom goes to work. She leaves our building and walks past Saul's Market to the bus stop. Before she gets on the bus, she turns, looks up, and waves to me. I wave back. I stay there and see other people hurrying to work. I stay there until Grandma says, Sarah, it's time to get ready for school. Kind of silly when Brenda and I do our voices, huh? While I look out the window, I see Saul open his store. He loads the tables in front. He finds a few bad fruits and vegetables and puts them in a box. He can't sell them, so he puts them on the side of the store. One day, I see an old man look in the box. He takes out an apple and puts it on his shoulder. The apple rolls down his arm and into his hand. Then he takes a bite. Why did he eat that apple? I asked Grandma. It has lots of bad spots. It has lots of good spots too, Grandma says. That man is probably poor and looking for something to eat. I think about him eating around the bad spots on the apple. He must be very hungry. I think about him when I eat breakfast and when I walk with Grandma to school. At school, we play and learn about letters, numbers, and holidays. At snack, my teacher gives me a cookie and milk. I look at my cookie and think about the man. I wrap my cookie in a napkin and put it in my pocket. I wonder what she's saving that cookie for. At supper, I tell Mom about the man I show her the cookie. Could you leave it for him? I ask. The next morning, Mom puts the cookie in a bag. She leaves it by the side of Saul's store. Later, I see the man open the bag. He takes out the cookie, spins it on the tip of his finger, and eats it. At school, I tell my friends about him, and we wrap lots of cookies. My teacher says she's proud of us. She says that what we're doing is called tzedakah. We're giving to someone who has less than we have. My teacher gives tzedakah too. She gives me a container of juice for the man. That night, I help Mom make him a sandwich. The next morning, he finds the cookies, juice, and sandwich. He looks around. I think he wants to know who has left him such good things. This is the first time I see his face, and I think I've seen him before. I just don't know where. On Friday night, Mom and Grandma light Shabbat candles. Then we go to synagogue. After the service, there's an Oneg Shabbat. It's like a Shabbat party. And guess what? I see him. Mom, Grandma, I whisper. What, Sarah? They ask. I know that man. That's him. The man eats some challah. He drinks some grape juice. We all do. After that, every day when the man comes by Saul's, there's something for him to eat. Then one day, my teacher says Hanukkah is coming. I love Hanukkah. It's a happy holiday. On Hanukkah, my teacher says, we light candles for 8 nights. We remember the fight for freedom many years ago. We remember the fight so Jews could light Shabbat candles and study the Torah. We also remember how a small bit of oil burned and burned. She gives us each some tiles, bottle caps, paint, and glue. We're making menorahs, she says. You can use them at home to light Hanukkah candles. Just before the first night of Hanukkah, I bring my menorah home. It's beautiful, Grandma says. I know it is. Grandma sets it by the window. We'll light the candles and play dreidel when Mom comes home, Grandma says. Now let's make latkes and Hanukkah cookies. Latkes are potato pancakes. Let's make extra, I say. We make a lot of latkes. We bake lots of cookies in the shapes of menorahs and dreidels. I cover them with sprinkles. Mom comes home and I show her my new menorah. It's beautiful, Mom says, but what about the one you made last year? She takes it from the cabinet. It's also beautiful. Take it with you when you go to work, I say. Put it by the trash near the fruit store. Don't throw it out, Grandma says. I'm not, I tell her. I'm giving tzedakah. I'm giving it to someone who has less than we have. So look, they put everything in the bag for him. Isn't that sweet? The next morning, the man takes the menorah out of the bag and looks at it. There are also latkes, cookies with sprinkles, and Hanukkah candles. I see that the man's cheeks are a little wet. I hope those are happy tears. On Friday, Mom and Grandma prepare special Shabbat and Hanukkah dinner with lots of good things to eat. At synagogue that night, I want to invite the man to our house for dinner. But Sarah, Mom says, we don't know him. He's a stranger. Please, I say. Mom and I speak to the rabbi. He knows the man. His name is Morris Berger, the rabbi tells us. I've known him for a long time. He's here every Friday afternoon to set up the chairs. After Shabbat, he puts away all the books. The rabbi introduces Mom and me to Mr. Berger. Mom asks him, would you like to join us for a homemade Shabbat and Hanukkah dinner? Please, I say. Mr. Berger smiles. He comes home with us. He talks a lot during dinner. He lives nearby in a small apartment. He once worked in a circus. He shows me some tricks the clowns had taught him. He juggles some small pieces of challah. Then one by one, he catches each piece of challah in his mouth and eats it. I wish I could juggle. I don't know how to juggle either. Maybe I'll learn. Mom brings out dessert, a plate full of Hanukkah cookies, all covered with sprinkles. Now Mr. Berger knows who has been leaving cookies, sandwiches, and milk for him. He knows who left him the menorah and candles. At first, Mr. Berger looks down. I think he's a little embarrassed. Then he looks at me and says in a real quiet voice, "Thank you." Mr. Berger, I say, I hope you'll visit again. I'd like that, he says, and please call me Morris. Oh, that's so sweet. They made like friends. Mom tells him to have another cookie. I will, he says, but first I'll show you some more magic. Morris reaches behind my ear and takes out a Hanukkah cookie with sprinkles. Now watch this. I'll make it disappear. He takes one big bite and the cookie is gone. That's okay, I say. We have lots more. We have lots to share. I also have things to share, Morris says. I can teach you some easy magic tricks. I can tell you funny circus stories. Can you teach me to juggle? Morris laughs. I can try, but juggling takes lots of practice. Sarah will need lots of juggling lessons, Mom says. Morris smiles. He knows that lots of lessons means lots more Shabbat dinner with us. I smile too. Soon I'll juggle challah at school and surprise my friends. Whoa, he's juggling it with his foot. Oh, that was such a lovely story. I'm really glad that they got to know each other and they made friends. Well, that was our last book of the night. Oh no. Brendan, what's the matter, buddy?
Oh, Reena, I have good news and I have bad news.
Okay, I want the good news.
Okay, the good news is the kitchen's never looked better. It's totally spotless. You could eat off of it.
That's great. What's the bad news?
The bad news is we still don't have the candles. They're nowhere in sight.
But the children are counting on us. If we don't like the menorah, then what are we going to do for the third night of Hanukkah?
What's David gonna do?
Let's ask David. Maybe he's seen the candles.
Okay. Get everyone to ask David where the candles are.
Hey, David.
Hey, David.
Do you know where our Hanukkah candles are? Silent treatment.
He's mad at us. Wait a minute.
You see what I see?
I think I see what you see right now.
David!
You were hiding the candles the whole time! The whole time! Oh, David, it was your first Hanukkah and you made the memorable one. Isn't David the best, guys?
He's so great.
And now we can finally celebrate Hanukkah! While we lit the candles, we just want to thank everyone for coming out. We hope you all had fun reading and seeing all these books that we had. We know that we had fun. And also, I want to thank Reena for joining me for a wonderful Hanukkah experience. And thank you for Alicia Hayes, who organized all this, and for T-Squared Production Company. And most of all of you, because Hanukkah doesn't exist without everyone. And it's really nice that we were all able to get together this year.
Yes, definitely. So, and we want to also thank Brendan. We had a really fun time reading all the stories. So, without further ado.
And if you guys are watching at home, you want to use your craft, or if you have your own candles and menorah, it's time to light the menorah.
And you can say the prayer with us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, everyone!
Happy Hanukkah, everyone! Thank you so much for joining us.
And it's all done. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of the nights of Hanukkah. Have a great holiday season and be safe and be happy and hug your loved ones if you're living with them.